Module 2 will last between 38 and 40 minutes, taking in various road and traffic conditions. During the ride, you may also follow the road ahead, unless traffic markers tell you otherwise, or he tells you differently on the radio. During the ride, there'll be 2 or 3 stops at the side of the road, including an angle start, possibly hill start, and 10 minutes of independent riding. This is for training purposes. This will be an exact test route, road for road. What is expected of you on a test, and I'll just be commentating as I go, so you know what to expect. Now, at the end of the road, we'll be turning right. Your examiner will expect you to right mirror right signal. Position number 3, before the planner stop, you've got to make absolutely certain it's safe both ways before you commence, and you're expected to steer away from the curb as you turn. Now, we will be going down to the end of the road and turning right. Because of the lorry on the left, I'm going to give it a wide berth. You are allowed to ride through hatchings. The danger is around the back of this lorry. That's why I'm keeping away from it. I've scanned the crossing. The approach to the T-junction, turning right. Now, we are expected to be a little bit closer. Observation signal, position number 3, which is at PSL, position of the speed. And we're playing a stop. On this occasion, I'm going to stop short. You know he's going to cut the corner off. And I'll play a stop and make sure it's dead safe both ways. Again, steering away from the curb as I turn. We will be going down to the end of the road for a mini roundabout. We'll be turning left. Now, I'm keeping a separation gap between myself and the van ahead at the moment. I want to see 15 seconds up the road, and I want him to see me in the mirrors anyway. Car on the left. I'll alter my position. Keep away from the danger on the left. Don't be frightened. Turning left at the mini roundabout. Position number 1, protect your left curb. Approach it slowly. Allow yourself to get the view to the right. The next roundabout, once it's safe to commence, we're going to be taking a second exit onto the 127. Now, you can use the left lane or the right lane, obviously, on the approach. On this occasion, I'm going to opt for the right-hand lane. I will protect the centre of the roundabout once I join, and that keeps you away from the exit on the left. But do look left or check your mirrors as you exit. Now, with the slip road, now let's treat this like a runway of an aircraft carrier. Keep left, use the whole length. I must plan out the gap. It's also the separation gap from myself and the van in front of me, plus the blue car behind. So all the time I'm staying in, I'm adjusting my speed, I'm looking forward and behind before I join. Now, the 15-second rule is the most important. You'll see the separation gap. There is no point in being close behind the vehicle in front because you cannot see 15 seconds up the road. I will be expecting, of course, as I ride down the road, to be observing my mirrors, which is the Smith's keys. It's every 5 to 8 seconds. You'll find you always glance your speedo every 5 to 8 seconds. Now, currently, my road position has no benefit in doing any overtakes. The bigger gap is in front of me, which then makes that the safest place to be. There's no benefit in being in lane 2 at the moment. The road we're on is actually a 50 mile an hour zone. We're actually currently doing 44. There's no progress to be made at all. I can see further up the road, lane 2 is not making much distance ahead anyway. So until then, I'm literally just keeping a nice separation gap. The 15-second rule is very, very important. On this occasion, to make the 15 seconds, I'm following a 4-second rule as opposed to a 2-second rule. It's all to do with the view. Now, we will be on this road for approximately another half a mile. I still have lots of people in lane 2 at the moment. My road position, well, we could ride number 1, number 2, but I wouldn't ride in position number 3 whilst I'm in lane 1 because I'd be too close to the cars overtaking. So I'm adopting a position number 2, but if someone does overtake me or go to overtake, I'll probably just move to number 1 to give them a bit more space. Now, we have the warning signs that we're just approaching. There will be a junction ahead. Now, we are still following the road ahead yet for another third of a mile or so. People may come up in lane 2 and try to cut across the front of me to make a sharp exit. So what I'd probably be expected to do is at least be checking my mirrors as I get closer to the junction anyway to see what is coming up behind. Come the time we have cleared the junction, well, now we've got people that may merge on the left. Now, at the end of the day, it is really their problem, not your problem. So I've analysed what's behind. Currently, I'm thinking I will be turning left in a quarter of a mile, so I might as well hold this lane. So I'm just adjusting my speed. I've now dropped it down to 40, just to allow the van to join. I need to check behind me what's still coming up in that slip road, so it's worthwhile for left observation. We have the round order signs for the 40s, which will be our new speed limit zone. And we are aiming to turn left further down the road, which will be just around a left-hand bend. It will actually feel a bit like doing the first exit of a roundabout, but there's no give way on it, of course. Until then, I'm still the 4-second rule between myself and the van in front. Come the time we go to turn left, we are expected to give an information signal to people behind to let them know exactly where we will be going. I'm going to adopt to position number 1 in a little while, so I'm making it quite obvious because actions speak louder than words. I'm then going to follow the shape of the curb. The signal is currently running left at the moment. As soon as I clear the junction, well, that's where there's going to be any changes of speed limits. So as you exit, there's the round ones, 30. I will make sure the signal's turned off. We will be following the road ahead at the next mini roundabout. Now, my course of action, I'm mindful of the car on the left, so I'll give him a bit of a wide berth. But as the vehicle in front slows down, so will I. And I'm going to keep that same 20 metres until he's turned. Now I can see what's coming before I commence. Traffic lights, once again, following the road ahead. Now, on the approach, we will be expecting to make a precautionary in case the lights do change. And there you go. Now I'm instinctively looking behind to make sure the man behind is slowing down as well. On this occasion, the blue car done very nicely. Come the time the lights do change, that'll be worthwhile with a right shoulder check to make sure, well, we've got no motorbikes overtaking us, because they're the ones that filter to the front of traffic queues, aren't they? So it's worthwhile of a rear observation before you move. At the mini roundabout, we will be turning right. It's actually a second exit at 3 o'clock. We would be expected to observation signal on the approach, and we are expected to go around the blob of paint. Don't just cut it off, but you are allowed to touch it a little bit. It's either the paint or the curb sometimes. Now we will be following the road ahead for a while. We have danger on the left, give him a wide berth. And with the parked cars, its early vision is the best decision. But we have to be mindful of the junction on the right, of course. In 50 metres, we shall be turning right. This does require an observation signal manoeuvre. But let's keep away from that car on the right in case he turns into us. We are expected to keep away from the curb and turn to a position number 2 into our lane. Now, because of the hazards of the parked cars and the side roads, it's going to be what we call an appropriate speed. This doesn't have to be 30, it's an appropriate speed. We shall be turning left in 50 metres, so I will just be keeping away because the danger is around the front of the left in case there's anyone stepping out. Now, as we turn into the road, adopt a position number 1, protect your left curb and look what you're turning into. We shall be turning the next left in 100 metres. On the approach, I do have some parked cars, so I'm going to get myself in a position where I can see up the road, but the danger is now around the front of the white car. The 15-second rule when we turn, slow enough you can see. I don't know if there's a little 6-year-old girl crossing the road. No, she's not. That's good. Now, we're going to be following the road ahead now for approximately half a mile. Come to side roads like this, plenty of parked cars. It really is no different to you riding down a country road and all the parked cars are trees or bushes. So it's a position where you can see that keeps you safe, and it's a view that does not sacrifice your safety. So with the parked cars on the left, I will give them a wide berth, mindful of the junction on the right. Once we're past, we can ease ourselves back over. So there's no sudden movements, it's all gliding in and gliding out. We have a junction on the left. Keep away from the junction on the left if you have to. Or look, keep away. Constantly kept in the driver's mirrors. I'll keep away from the car on the right. I'm now looking ahead, junction on the left. Bend to the right further down. Now, I don't know what's around the bend. Could there be a parked bus? Could there be a dustbin lorry? Could there be someone crossing the road? Slow enough, you can react. The road position, I'm keeping away from the dangers on the left. We shall be following the road ahead to the next 2 mini roundabouts that will be coming up. Now, once again, with the mini roundabouts, we are expected to go around the blob of paint. But sometimes the Basildon Council don't put the paint. But I'll make out that's where I think it should have been. The next one, no signal at all required. We are just going straight ahead. And once again, I'll probably just touch the paint a little bit. At the end of the road, a T-junction will be turning left. Now, this one's going to be a relatively blind left turn. So how can I make that easy? Now this will only be left mirror, left signal, protect your left curb. The slower you approach it for the last 10 metres, the easier it is. Then follow the shape of the left curb. We will now turn left at the next roundabout as a first exit. Protect your left curb. We must not cross that stop line until we're committing to going. Now we're now looking for changes of speed limit as we turn. There is one on the right lamppost as a repeater sign, but your examiner would be forgiven to say, if he didn't spot the 50, but he would expect you to see the next repeater sign that will come up on the left-hand side. So you haven't immediately got to get it. So we know we're in a 50 zone. We shall be following the road ahead of the next roundabout, which is a second exit at 12 o'clock. So as a rule of thumb with the speed limits, they're either just before the junction or just as you exit. If there isn't, it remains the last speed limit sign you saw. On this occasion, as we approach the next roundabout, as a straight ahead, which is always a left lane approach, you will clearly see the round order signs that show you the roundabout is now a 30 mile an hour zone. Now it is very important you are expected to keep a lane discipline. I've approached it slowly, planning out that I don't have to stop, but I must be mindful of the silver car on my right in case he suddenly does a lane change. As I exit, I can now look for more round order signs. There's your new speed limit. But this time we've got to check out the road markings. So I'm making effective rear observations, mindful what's in front, what's behind. I can see the traffic lights have changed. As I slow down, I'm now managing the flow of the traffic behind me. All the time, keep an eye what's going on in front, what's behind. The lane on the left is a left-only lane. Now, do you honestly think that some people always turn left? No, they may go straight on, so it's worthwhile for rear observation. We shall take the next turning on the right, which is roughly 200 metres. Now, we can go through the hatchings if we need to. On this occasion, we have a green car behind us. I want to go through the hatchings a bit earlier than normal to get into the filter lane a bit earlier to keep away from the green car behind. I'm now planning my speed. Select the gear, right shoulder, make the turn. As we ride down the road, we have a school on the left plus pedestrians. We have quite a few speed bumps. So with speed bumps, it does not matter what side you pass, it's whatever side you deem safest. But on this occasion, I'm quite happy to keep to the left. It is an appropriate speed. Currently, I'm doing 21. For the parked cars, I'm splitting the difference, but I'm analysing and I'm not going to play chicken with anyone until I'm certain it's safe to proceed. Car on the right, adjust your speed accordingly. I'm keeping a nice gap from the vehicle in front. Now, if you probably notice, you can see far ahead past the second vehicle as well. It's all to do with the appropriate following distance. With the parked cars, now we can see they're stopping anyway. Now, the oncoming cars will have right of way. Obviously, I'm making observations. I can clearly see that someone pulled over, so I'll make a little bit of progress. That's very nice of the gentleman. And I'm analysing what the cars are doing straight ahead of me. There's plenty of hazards. Let's be cautious of people. Keep away from danger if you think. At the end of the road, we are planning to turn left at a T-junction. Now, it'll be one of those, there's a bit of a limited view. You don't have to shoulder check for something like this. Make effective observations on the approach. Consider left mirror, left signal. Protect your left curb on the approach, subject to parked cars, of course. I just want to make sure he's actually waiting for me. I'm happy he's stationary. Now, once again, the slower we approach, the easier it is. Left mirror, left signal. Tight to the left. Look what you're turning into. Keep away from any oncoming cars. Now, we have plenty of cars on the right-hand side, so I'm just going to adopt a position that keeps me out of harm's way. And it's a right-hand bend, this is. Now, what does the highway code say? Keep left on right-hand bends. Once I'm past the parked car, move back over to the left. Anticipate someone coming around the bend. That way you're out of harm's way. We're aiming to go down to the end of the road to a T-junction and turn left. And we'll be turning left again at the lights. The approach, wait till the view's open before you proceed. Go at a speed you can react to what comes towards you, because especially with the parked cars, they are hiding you from the side junctions. Now, the end of the road on this occasion. Now, this is going to be quite busy. It's not a very nice time of morning, to be honest. There are 2 lanes once we're turned. One goes left, one goes right. So, okay, we need to work out what the people in front are going to be doing. There's no particular rush with it as we turn. I'm protecting the left curb, but keeping a gap. Now, I just want to analyse. The lights haven't changed yet. I want to see what this gentleman in front's going to go. And I will wait at the stop line. Now, you probably see there's a queue of cars on the right, but the left is moving, and some of these, they invariably bump up the curb. It's a bit naughty, isn't it? All right. So, what would I do? On test, yeah, I'd probably go. There's a big enough gap for me to ride down. I'll just be close to the curb, and I'm going to ride down slowly. Now, I want to anticipate, first of all, the man on my right is not going to suddenly put on a left signal, or any of the others. I will wait and work out what's going to happen. The cars on the right are quite stationary, so I'm going to go through very slowly, but stay very tight up against the left curb, anticipate any doors opening. Left-hand turn the only lane, and once we're around, we're aiming to turn right in 200 metres. Now, this one will require the observation signal manoeuvre on the approach. Very important. There is a filter lane, which is a bit like landing on an aircraft carrier, so you can just skim through a couple of hatchings if you want. Find an appropriate speed, and once you're happy, make the turn. You will be asked to do a hill start, so this will be a left mirror left signal, run along the left curb, get yourself straight before you stop. Now, there's no rush once you get going. Compose yourself, make sure you have your gear 1, make the effective observations. Right shoulder signal, away you go. With the particular road, now we happen to be in a 30 zone, keep left on right hand bends. Now, I don't know what's coming over the top of the hill, keep out of harm's way, a road position that's safe, but now an appropriate speed as you come down. Now, at the moment, the speed is shown as 24 miles per hour, stroke 25. As I come around the bend, slow enough you can see 15 seconds, plenty of parked cars, slow enough you can react to what you see. But let's go through slowly, because it is a school on the right. Now, I don't know if there's a school coach coming down around the bend, so let's keep left at a speed you can react. Got to wait until the view opens up. I'm splitting the difference at the moment. I've got a parked car coming up at my 12 o'clock shortly, so early vision is the best decision, but I'm decelerating until the view opens up. Then I can move back out of harm's way again. At the end of the road is a turn left only. Now, a turn left only, once again, we're looking for changes of speed limit. On this occasion, it will be just before you get to the junction, and it is a turn left only. It's a 30 joining a 40. Now, as a slip road, you don't have to use a slip road. You don't have to go down the stop line. Position yourself so you face down the slip road. Go from there. Turning right at a major roundabout. This will be right shoulder, right signal. Over we go. Leave your right signal on if you want. Plan out the approach. Once you're in a happy gear, protect the centre of a roundabout. It normally pays you to work it up to gear 3 or something like that. But get now ready to signal left, look left, exit on the left. Now, as we exit, we need to be mindful of the junction on the left, so make an effective left observation. Approach to the traffic lights. Let's check out the road markings. You'll clearly see straight ahead or right only, so obviously we want the left lane. Be prepared for the lights. Now we manage the flow of the traffic behind. Now, jump behind left a nice separation gap. I will sit here. Now, obviously, once the lights change, we still have danger from the right because the green traffic light is only proceed with caution, by the way. It's not a completely right of way that you go. So I wouldn't actually glance to the right. Gentleman on the right was going through a red traffic light, by the way. It's quite fascinating. Now, we will be stopping in a little while. We're just going to go past these lorries. I'm going to give them a big wide berth because anyone can step out between those. And we're going to be doing an angle start. So I'm going to choose the lorry coming up on the left. So checked what's behind me. I'm going to left mirror, left signal, and we need to leave a space of about 3 or 4 metres, about the length of a small parked car. Now, obviously, I can't see what's coming up the road or whatever else, so it's effective observation before you ride off. It does not matter if you have both of your feet on the floor when you do this one. We do just sit here looking in your mirrors. You can probably see I'm just looking in the mirror, seeing what's coming. No point in moving, but once I'm happy, now I'm going to right shoulder, right signal and creep and peep until we can see that it's clear both ways, or if there's anyone pulling out of a junction. See the car? We'll just wait until it's clearer. Once I'm happy, I will then just creep and peep only if I can. But I've got no desires, especially with lorries and cars still coming down the road. Now, it's looking quite clear after this one, so we'll just move forward gently to get a better view both ways. Once I'm happy, then I continue. Now, when you pass the lorries, now give them a big wide berth. They've got to have lorry doors widths. Now, we know danger is round the front of the lorries or back of the lorries. People, whatever it's going to be. As we ride up the road, we're aiming to take a right-hand turn, be approximately 300 metres. It'll be actually the second right. Got the lorry, got the car. Road positioning. Now, we're going to pass the traffic islands. We must observation signal manoeuvre. Then it's the PSL, which will then be position of the road that we take for the right-hand turn. So you are expected to adopt a position number 3. And I've got no rush catching up with the lorry. Making sure it's clear. Select your appropriate gear. Be feathering the clutch. Turn into position 2. Keep away from the curb. Now, your examiner will ask you to stop at the side of the road where it's somewhere safe. There is nothing wrong with stopping on a single yellow line, but it must be up against a tall curb. So I would left mirror, left signal, somewhere it's nice and safe. Now, you would then be given the instructions of where you're going to be going. So he's going to ask you to follow the road ahead at the next roundabout, but turn left, exit number 1 at the second one, and then follow signs for Wickford or Southend, for example. Now, obviously, he will say, once you're happy with the instruction, give a thumbs up and ride on only once it's safe to do so. So make sure it's clear behind. You're expected to right shoulder, right signal. And now we're gradually catching ourselves up with the now independent ride. Because of the hazards on the left, you'll see my road position is kept to position number 1. The approach to the roundabout. Now, we are expected to assume there are 2 imaginary lanes on the roundabout, and you are expected to keep to imaginary lane 1. I'm happy to proceed. As I bank right, I will signal left, look left, and I'm going to keep to the left. The approach to the next roundabout, which is a left first exit, you'll see signs for Wickford on the left. Got to be mindful of the zebra crossing. I've now got the space in front to work out the flow, but I have protected the left curb. Now, in all fairness with the Basildon Highways Agency, there are a lack of signs, and it is now going to actually be a 50 mile an hour zone. Now, your examiner would not moan if you maintain the 30 for a little while, because the first repeater sign you actually come across is, believe it or not, at the next roundabout. So, if you know the roads, then great. If not, don't be frightened, all right? The examiners do sometimes help you. The sign is showing straight ahead. Now, I'm going to adopt to make some progress by changing lanes, because 2 lanes go straight ahead. Plan out the roundabout. I'm going to stay tidy in lane 2. And when I exit in lane 2, well, I know the learner's not going to be as fast as me, so I will power up. And now I need to give a left signal, left observation. Now I can change back over, because I'm not overtaking anything else, am I? On the approach to the roundabout, early vision is the right decision. So I'm already looking over at the right at 2 o'clock. If I'm happy, adjust your speed. The tidy imaginary lane discipline. Get ready to signal left, look left. Now follow the shape of the curb. Once we exit, there's been no changes of speed limit, so it remains the last one that we saw, which happened to be a 50 on this occasion. Now as we ride down the road, I wouldn't know where I was going if I was in a strange town like Nottingham, and if I was following directions and I didn't have any idea at all where I'm going, I would invariably stay in the left lane. I wouldn't go planning overtaking if I did not know that there wasn't suddenly a sign to say I was going to turn left. Now, we have the round order signs, which is now your 40 mile an hour zone. The approach to the traffic lights. Okay, well, we've got to plan out, not so much the traffic lights, but it's what is going to be coming up behind us. And you have to manage the flow of the traffic. No sudden braking, gradual deceleration. So let's be prepared for the lights. Here we go. So gentle brakes. I'm very happy I've no one behind. Whilst I'm waiting, I will make sure I'm in my gear 1. And in real world, I just sit there looking in my mirrors and I'm making sure the car behind is going to stop. Because you have to be prepared sometimes, especially on a bike, to move to avoid a traffic collision. And invariably, it does happen. Now, we will simply wait for the lights to change. I will explain to you again, a green traffic light is not an exclusive right of way. We have to be mindful where danger may come from, which potentially may be on the left. Now, you'll see the vehicles are moving at the moment. Now, when those lights go red for those people, how do you know someone is an amber gambler? So I would observe to the left. Now, as you ride down the road, the last speed limit sign we saw, now can you remember what it was? 40, and it remains 40. We have plenty of junctions on the left as we come down for an industrial estate. Anyone could be pulling out of those, so I'm mindful of those. I'm also keeping the line lane 2 in case I have to change lanes. The next set of traffic lights, okay, we have to be prepared for them. So once again, I'm now decelerating, managing the flow of the traffic behind me. There is nothing wrong with approaching it sedately. Now, lane 2, I've made an observation, is now clear, so I will change lanes because of the car ahead turning. I'll make sure I clear, I'll give an early signal, left shoulder, back over I go to the left. Now I'm going to keep an appropriate separation gap, as that 15-second rule again, and we're following signs for Wickford or Southend. Now, sometimes your examiner will help you and say the signs are very hidden by the bushes, and just to help you, it'll be left at the next roundabout. Now, on this occasion, there is a little left-hand filter lane you can take, which actually misses out the roundabout. So just be a left signal, and it's a dedicated left-only lane. There is no give way on it at all. Your examiner will now come on the radio to say that's the end of the independent ride. I'll now give you directions, and we're going to turn left, exit number 1 at the next one. Now, the approach. Now, can you remember, changes of speed limits are either just before the junction or just as you turn. Now, with turning left, protect your left curb, just a left signal, work out the flow of the traffic. There's no change on the run-up, but is there as we turn? Because that's where they are. If you miss them, or if you don't see any, it remains the last one you saw. As we come around, I'll make sure my signal's off. Danger will be the white van, what's around the front, give it a wide berth. We're now in a 30 mile an hour zone. The road will have speed bumps. Whatever side you go for is the side you deem safest, but bearing in mind we must not be close to parked cars either, and are expecting always to miss by at least a door's width. The parked cars on the left are hiding us from anyone putting out on the left, so you need to give them a wide berth. Next mini roundabout will be a straight ahead at 12 o'clock. Now you have a chance to do this one like an advanced rider, and what we're going to do is analyse where the blob of paint is on the approach. Now we can choose a dead straight line, it's well beneficial. Don't need to veer around it like a landmine. That just skims a blob of paint. Now that will keep you maximum distance from danger that's going to approach on your left. Now the actual test centre itself, as we come to the end of the test, will be a right hand turn in 200 metres. So the approach to the speed bumps, we're expected to observation signal. I'll probably consider the observation signal a bit early, and because of the van just pulling out, I'm just going to take my time and decelerate and move into the hatchings. Now you can always consider a further shoulder check before you turn, but turn into a position 2. That way you keep away from the curb. And obviously in the test centre itself, we just ride in nice and slowly, and he'll take you back down to where he wants you to stop. The test is live until you dismount your bike, so do make sure that your side stand is fully down before you dismount your bike.